welcome back to the Hero Whispers. You are here with the host, Jeannie Marie, Chief Supergirl of Supergirls.com. That's 2 L's, the second L for love. Welcome back to the show, listeners. We have an amazing queen with us today, but before I introduce her, just a little bit about the show and who we are in case you're new to the podcast. The Hero Whispers is our podcast for Supergirls, which is a platform we created to inspire and empower college women to launch from college to life. We use our podcast to inspire and empower them with amazing women that can potentially be mentors, have done amazing things in their lives. And we also love to talk to the college girls themselves to find out how we can make this world a better place for them to land. So I'm so happy you're here with us, and I am extremely honored to present our guest, Amy Soricelli. Amy Soricelli has more than 40 years of experience in the fields of recruiting and career services. She joined Berkeley College in 2009 as Director, Alumni Placement. She was appointed Vice President, Career Services in 2017. In this role, Ms. Soricelli oversees the Career Services Department of 27 committed and passionate career development professionals. She is a recipient of the Associate of the Year Award for Customer Service in 2012 and the Associate of the Year Honorable Mention Award for Customer Service in 2010. The Career Services Department was recognized for their incredible teamwork both in 2015 and 2019. Prior to joining Berkeley College, Ms. Soricelli was account manager at Taylor Gray, a staffing firm where her primary focus was the placement of administrative support in New York City, Connecticut, and Long Island. She served almost 14 years as director of placement at the Katharine Gibbs School. While there, she won the top placement award for 8 consecutive years. Amy Soricelli is a graduate of the Herbert H. Lehman College, where she earned an MS in Specialized Services in Education, with a focus on guidance and counseling and a BA in English. Amy, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. So excited.
Okay, so I have met Amy recently through the channels, through social media, and I actually worked at Berkeley as an adjunct professor in the past, and so we connected, and I am here to say she is amazing. All of these things are like not a surprise to me for what I see that she does for her students and her community and the population. And so I was like thrilled to get her on here because she is such a great voice for these young women that are like launching into the world. So I just want to say, Amy, thanks for being our guest because you have all this expertise. And I think like what's on everyone's minds, especially coming from you who are like are right in the heart of it. What is happening with the market, with the job market for our graduates right now, from your perspective?
Well, it is extremely challenging. I'm not going to lie and say it's rosy. It's not. But I have to say there are many opportunities. And every day I see on social media and I hear that people are getting jobs. They're having remote interviews and virtual interviews and Zoom conferences, and people are landing jobs. So I think it takes research and some dogged determination, a consistent job search, and people have to ask for help. And I think if you reach out to key influential people in your network that you know and people who know other people that know people, you can build a community that will help you get a job. It's not impossible. This is not going to last forever. I do believe before we know it, we're all going to be back at our desks. It will look different. It may never look the same. But I think we need to approach the job search in a good old-fashioned way, which is consistency and confidence. I mean, we're all in the same boat. So many more are in the same boat. So we also need to use social media in a very, very good and intentional manner so that you stand out from everybody else who's now also in front of their screens. So I think intention and focus.
I love that. I love, like, you boil it down to 2 words because it helps you, it helps you get energized and not overwhelmed. So how about, can you give us an example of someone that you've seen use, like you said, as you mentioned, use social media in an intentional way and actually found an opportunity?
Well, it happens every day. So what we try to do at Berkeley is we try to highlight our students. And we will say, employers, have you met? And then we will just tag somebody's profile. And then we had a recruiter reach out to the student directly, direct message them, and said, wow, you have a really good staff that's telling everyone how great you are. And this student went right in and said, well, thank you for reaching out. Let me tell you some more about how great I am. Are you free this afternoon? They had a conversation, and somebody got a job. It's marketing yourself all the time. And I think if you are visible, recruiters will come to you. It happens twice a day, easily. I got part of a book published because I reached out to somebody on LinkedIn whose posts were less than uplifting. And we had a back and forth conversation. And he asked me to review a book he was writing for the college students' job search. And I said, sure, I'll review it. And when I reviewed it, I said, you have a section missing on social media. And he said, well, I'm not good at it. And I said, well, you can't leave it out. Sorry, if you're not good at it, you still got to put it in there. So he says, well, you write it. And if you write it and we like it, we'll publish it and we'll give you, the credentials and Berkeley College, and you'll get in a book. And I did. And it's in the glass case of the lobby of Berkeley College. Of course, I can't see it because we're closed right now, but that's all it took. So yes, I actually had a section on social media published in a guide for a job search for the college student. And that was simply from having a conversation on LinkedIn. And that's the most important thing, not to be afraid to talk to people.
That's why it's called social media. You're supposed to be social, but people don't always understand that, right? They don't always get that. So
Exactly.
What is the name of your book? What is the name of your book? Because I want to talk about that on my blog.
Well, I'm going to find it. It's not me. It's Bob Roth.
Okay.
The job search for the college student. Let me find that. I will look while we're talking. I will search that out.
Okay. I'll do it. That's cool. That's so cool. That's all. Congratulations to you for that. But what a great, it's not only like you talk the talk, right? You walk the walk. And so they can say, oh my God, that's totally inspiring for someone to hear that story. I love it.
Right.
Okay.
Well, I think yes. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Well, I just think it's important that students and women especially, because we're always hiding behind what we think we're supposed to be, that we're not afraid to say on social media, kindly and easily, I'm looking for a job. These are the kind of opportunities that I'm looking for. We don't have to sound desperate. We don't have to sound needy. But we also don't have to be embarrassed that we're looking for a job. Where you least expect it could be someone who can actually help you. And I think we don't remember that enough.
Yeah, there is some kind of a stigma about telling people that you're looking for a job, but especially when you're coming right out of college. Of course, you're looking for a job. I mean,
exactly.
It's expected, so it's totally different. And even now, with everything that's going on, people that are looking for a job, it's like commonplace. So,
right.
Yeah, some more great advice from the Queen. Okay, so you have so much success on your journey. I mean, it's insane. I'm reading your bio. I'm like, this woman is like, you're walking around definitely with a halo. So what are some of your, please, and you're so humble too. I love that too. I love humble people. What are your most memorable moments in this journey?
Okay, so if you want to start from the journey way back, I would have to say without question, it was my absolutely first placement. I was at Katharine Gibbs 2 days after being in an executive search firm for 5 years. And now all of a sudden I'm working in a real company and I have to wear skirts every day. I'm not even allowed to wear pants. So I was given a student because I was a new counselor, and they said, here's this student, no one can get her a job. And I said, well, why is that? And she was just so quiet. So I'm kind of introverted, believe it or not. And I sat down with her and I spoke to her and I'm like, she's amazing. So I took this giant job book because this was 1983. I was literally handed a book of jobs and I flipped through them. I picked one that fit her. I got her a job. I called, I got her the interview, and she got the job. And I remember going into my boss and saying, Rosa blank. She goes, what about her? I said, so she got $15,800. And my boss saying, what are you talking about? I said, well, I called this company and I gave him the name. And she goes, what company is that? I said, they're a small Japanese software firm. She goes, wow, none of us ever called them. Anyway, I said, well, the other problem is, and she goes, up, here it goes. I said, no, I know we charge a fee, but she has more experience than a beginner. She's okay. I said, so I made a mistake and I charged them 15%. She goes, well, wait a minute. So you placed a student we couldn't place in a company no one has bothered to look at for 5% more than we usually charge on your second day of work? I said, yeah. She's, wow, Amy, you made a placement. I said, Barbara, is this a job? And she goes, yes, this is a job. I'm like, whoa, no problem. And I remember thinking, I just got this kid a job. I'm going to need to hear this every day of my life. And I pretty much made it my goal that every single day that I work, I'm going to have to touch someone in the world of work, either their resume or some confidence building. I think a lot of it comes from being raised by a single parent back in the days when that wasn't cool. So my mother would come home and say things like, I'm not getting a raise. Across the hall is getting a raise. He's got a wife and kids. And I'd look at her and say, that's not fair, Mom. And she'd say, no, but I'll just be better than John and watch this. And she'd be better than John. And within a year, John was reporting to my mother. So these things stayed with me. And I think that's part of the journey. That as a little girl, I remembered that. So I always wanted to get people jobs. I've never done anything else. I can't imagine ever doing anything else. And that's still the biggest thrill for me. So when I got promoted, one of my biggest fears was my lack of student contact. But that's not my personality. So I still gravitate towards students, and students still gravitate towards me. And I'm lucky enough to still be able to work intimately with them, because that would make my job very sad if that wasn't part of it. So there's a lot of moments. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like every single day. And it sounds like you weaved it into the culture. So
yeah,
that speaks a lot about Berkeley College and the engaged alumni community that I hear a lot about all the time. Why do you think that is? It's New York, New Jersey. Is it like because of the geography, or does it have more to do with the culture?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the basic foundation of Berkeley College. We promise and guarantee every single student lifetime assistance. We don't guarantee you a job because we don't have a crystal ball, but we will guarantee you assistance for the rest of your life. So if you decide at 68 years old that you now want to redo your resume and start your own gig, you give us a call, we find your records, and we work with you as though you were a current student. That network of community and reach out makes us very strong. We have alumni events every quarter. And when we have them in New York, 65 people show up. When we have them in New Jersey, 125 show up because we have a lawn and deer. But the reality of it is people, and this goes back from the Berkeley School. The Berkeley School was a secretarial school where Berkeley started, and it later got accredited to be a college. But a lot of these women have then gone on to get their degrees at Berkeley. So it's a very, very strong network. And I think that we're so engaged and we reach out. We also have an awesome staff. So, for instance, when we heard that Toys R Us went under, the first thing that the Associate VP in Alumni Relations did is he reached out. We went on LinkedIn. We found that everybody who worked at Toys R Us that was part of the Berkeley world. And we sent them an email and said, we're here for you. If you're downsized, you're laid off, we're here. And the feedback was incredible. I mean, we were so fast and intentional in doing that. And that a lot of colleges don't do that. We also don't charge our students. You know, you come back for a resume review 15 years later, welcome. And I know some colleges charge people. And we find that outrageous. You paid your tuition and we're here to help you. I just find it hard to charge people who are unemployed for anything anyway. So that's one of my problems, but we certainly welcome. Yeah.
I know. But it's like you need the help the most, but you're not getting a paycheck. Okay, how does this work? It's definitely a moral dilemma.